Welcome, curious minds. Get ready, because we're about to unpack a story that, honestly, sounds almost too wild to be true. Just picture a football match, right? But the scoreline is, well, it's 11-1. Just staggering. And leading the charge is this global superstar who, get this, walks onto the pitch just after this really bizarre pre-match accident. And then he just delivers a performance that basically rewrites history books right there and then. We're not just talking about a win here. This was more like a roar, a real spectacle and a huge step for a nation that's been longing for football glory for, well, decades.
Yeah, absolutely. We're taking a deep dive today into September 9, 2025. It's a date that's now completely synonymous with Norwegian football. And the thing is, what's really fascinating isn't just the sheer number of goals, though that's obviously incredible. It's all the details around it, the stakes, World Cup qualifier, high stakes, the amazing individual moments, and what it actually means for a team right on the edge of achieving this long-held dream. So this deep dive will really try and uncover the full picture of that unforgettable night in Oslo. Show you how one game can become such a massive statement on the world stage.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. It's Oslo, early September. The air's got that crispness to it, and the Ullevaal Stadion. It's absolutely buzzing. Over 28,000 fans packed in. And this wasn't just any old friendly. This was a vital World Cup qualifier. A really key game on the road to the expanded 2026 World Cup in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Now, Norway had been sort of quietly but really effectively building some serious momentum. They were actually leading Group I, which, and this is pretty key, includes giants like Italy. We'd already seen them pull off some pretty impressive wins. That stunning 3-0 against Italy back in June.
Yeah.
And a solid 1-0 away win in Estonia, too. So you could really feel the anticipation, This tangible hope building for their first World Cup appearance since, 1998? That's a 27-year wait they were desperate to end.
And what's really striking here when you look at it is the massive contrast between the two team situations. Almost theatrical, really. You've got Norway, as you said, riding high. 12 points from 5 games. Confidence must have been sky high. And their opponents, Moldova, ranked 154th in the world. They were stuck at the bottom of the group, 0 points. And their goal difference, well, it told its own story, didn't it? They'd already conceded 25 goals in just 5 games.
Ouch.
Exactly. So on paper, you're thinking, okay, this looks like a pretty routine win for Norway. Maybe predictable, even. But absolutely nobody, nobody could have seen the sheer scale of the fireworks that were about to go off.
And here, right here, is where the story takes a turn towards the slightly surreal, maybe even unbelievable. Just 2 days before this huge game, September 7th it was, their star striker, Erling Haaland, he finds himself in the just bizarre situation. He's getting off the team bus at the hotel, and the luggage door, I still can't quite picture how, swings open and catches him right in the face. Apparently, he was bloodied, swore out loud in surprise, and ended up needing 3 stitches near his lip. I mean, can you just imagine the reaction, the buzz, the worry, the speculation flying around? Team, media, fans, everyone asking the same thing. Is he even going to play?
That must have sent, well, genuine shockwaves through the camp, surely. But then Haaland, and this seems so typical of him, he almost immediately turns it into a bit of a joke on Snapchat.
Yeah.
Posts a picture of the stitches, thumbs up emoji, laughing face, even asks fans to guess what happened, wrong answers only. Is that just incredible mental strength, do you think? Or maybe a clever way to just deflect all that pressure from himself and maybe the team?
That's a great question. What's your take on that kind of psychology? Turning a physical knock into banter right before such a massive game.
Yeah, it's a crucial point. And I think what we saw was, yes, resilience, but also just a remarkable display of his character. It really says a lot about that unique mix he has. Elite performer, but also quite down to earth. He wasn't just reassuring the fans. Reports said he made it clear to the captain, Martin Ødegaard, that he was, quote, doing fine. It just cemented his role, didn't it? Not just the guy who scores the goals, but also this calming, confident figure, this ability to just brush off something so weird and maybe even channel that frustration into pure focus. That's a hallmark of the truly world-class ones. It really set the stage for him to just rise above the injury and perform with this hyper-focused aggression that you could argue defined his whole game.
All right. So the whistle goes. 8:45 p.m. local time. And from the absolute first seconds, it's crystal clear Norway mean business, serious business. They're pressing incredibly high. Their midfield, you had Felix Hornmar from Bodø/Glimt in there, just buzzing with energy. They immediately smothered Moldova, and it almost felt inevitable, didn't it, the very first goal. And who's involved? Haaland, of course, provides this perfectly weighted, cushioned pass for Meyer, who just taps it in from close range. 6 minutes gone, 1-0, and the crowd just erupts. You could feel this roar building, this sense that something special was happening. Moldova's keeper, Christian Avram, he must have known right then he was in for a long night. He was under siege almost immediately.
Well, absolutely. What became clear so fast was just the sheer intensity, almost suffocating, of Norway's attack. This wasn't just about getting the win. It was about asserting total dominance right from the kickoff, a tactical masterclass, and just overwhelming the opponent. You could see Moldova's defense, particularly around Vladislav Boglo, just stretched incredibly thin. They couldn't cope with the pace, the precision. Avram was definitely facing an onslaught. Just wave after wave of Norwegian attacks, very little breathing room.
And then 11th minute, Haaland properly announces his arrival, stitches and all. He snaps up this loose ball in the box and think it came off a poor Moldovan clearance and just sweeps it into the far corner. Right foot, clinical. The stadium didn't just shake. I think you said it trembled. The noise must have been deafening. 2-0, and he wheels away, points to the badge, That stitched lip curling up into this triumphant grin. And from that moment, honestly, the goals just poured in. Like those Oslo buses you mentioned, quite ironic, given his little accident. It almost feels like that weird incident didn't derail him at all. Maybe it just lit this unquenchable fire. What's the psychological impact of a burst like that on both sides?
That's a really insightful question. For Norway, obviously, it just boosts their confidence even higher, lets them play with even more freedom, more swagger. But for Moldova, it's utterly demoralizing. You see the defensive lines just start to crumble under that relentless pressure. Mental fatigue kicks in so fast. And if you connect it to the bigger picture, Haaland's movement, it's just instinctive, predatory almost. He just senses weakness, the smallest gap, and creates chances from seemingly nothing. So by the 36th minute, he's got his second brilliant link-up with the captain, Martin Ødegaard.
Oh, the Ødegaard connection.
Exactly. Pinpoint through ball from the Arsenal man, slices the defense open. Haaland latches onto it, rounds Avram so smoothly, slots it home. Elegant. And then just before halftime, 43rd minute, Ødegaard finds him again, this time with a clever little flick. And Haaland, with that incredible leap and power in the air, rises highest at the back post, powers the header in. Hat-trick. 4-0 at the break, 3 goals for the guy with the stitches. Just an absolute stunning half, equaled their biggest halftime lead in recent years, apparently.
An incredible first half. So the second half kicks off, and it's just more of the same, right? Relentless pressure from Norway. And just 7 minutes after the restart, Haaland grabs his fourth. He bursts through midfield, just shrugs off a challenge. I think it was Artur Kraskio in pure power, and then fires this low, unstoppable shot past the keeper. 5-0. That made it 9 goals for him in just 5 World Cup qualifiers. I mean, that stat alone tells you why he's the kind of talisman Norway has craved for decades. And you might think, okay, 5-0, Haaland's got 4. Surely that's the story done. But nope, the night still had a few more twists and turns, didn't it? Including a moment that, well, briefly changed the scoreboard narrative.
Indeed it did. Before the complete dominance of the second half really took hold again, there was that slightly strange moment. Moldova did actually get on the score sheet, 64th minute. But it came, rather ironically, through an own goal. Norwegian defender Thelo Aasgaard misdirected a back pass to his keeper.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Yeah, it was just this brief flicker for Moldova, wasn't it? A sort of fleeting reminder that football can always be unpredictable, even when a game is so one-sided. What did that moment mean, though? Did it frustrate Norway at all? Or maybe just refocus them, make them even hungrier?
That's a great point. Sometimes conceding a goal like that, even an own goal, can just sharpen a dominant team's focus again. It's almost like instead of dampening their spirits, maybe that own goal just served as the trigger for the floodgates to open even wider. Because what happened next was just, wow. The goal fest wasn't over, not by a long shot. In fact, it was kind of just getting started again, in a way. And this is where Thelo Aasgaard, this 20-year-old substitute from Rangers, just steps into the limelight. He comes on in the 67th minute and basically turns the rest of the game into his own personal highlight reel. Scores not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 4 goals in just over 20 minutes.
4 goals as a substitute.
Incredible, right? First from a rebound, clinical finish. Then this lovely curling shot that left Avram totally stranded. He converted a penalty in the 79th and then tapped in another in the 82nd. I mean, on any other night, a performance like that, he'd be the undisputed star. Headlines everywhere. Career-defining moment for a young player. But this night, as we know, it was still undeniably Haaland's show.
Absolutely. And the sheer range of talent on display was impressive. You mentioned Ødegaard earlier. He also curled in an absolute beauty from 20 yards out in the 75th minute. It really showed the depth that's starting to build in this Norwegian squad.
Yeah.
They weren't just reliant on one man, even on a night like this, But the ultimate individual statement, the exclamation point, came with about 7 minutes left of normal time. Haaland seals his masterclass, latches onto this long ball over the top, and with just stunning audacity, chips the keeper from outside the box, sailed majestically over Avram, made it 10-1.
That chip, yes! What a finish for the fifth.
It's just perfect. His 5th goal of the night. And then, almost as an afterthought, Aasgaard gets his 4th, Norway's 11th, in stoppage time. By then, the damage was well and truly done. History was made.
So the final whistle blows, the scoreboard reads 11-1. It's almost hard to comprehend, isn't it?
Yes.
This wasn't just a big win, it was the biggest victory in the entire European qualifying cycle up to that point. Blew the Netherlands' 8-0 win over Malta out of the water, and more importantly for Norway, it matched their biggest ever winning margin in a competitive match. That's huge. And Haaland's 5 goals, just to put that into context for you legends like Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, they've never scored 5 in a single international game.
That's right. Messi's best is 4, I think, against Estonia.
Yeah.
And Ronaldo got 4 against Lithuania once.
Exactly. So what we saw that night, it was genuine history unfolding right there. A performance for the ages.
And if you break down Haaland's performance even further, you really see why he's had such a dramatic impact on Norway's fortunes. He's only 25 here, but already has an incredible, 48 goals and 45 caps. That scoring ratio is just insane. The envy of strikers everywhere. And the goals themselves showed his range, didn't they? The first was opportunistic, poaching. The second, clinical finishing under pressure. The third, that amazing aerial power. The fourth, sheer pace and strength. And the fifth, that audacious chip showed his composure and technique from distance, different facets of a complete striker. And despite those stitches, remember, he apparently said after the match, "It didn't bother me at all once the game started."
Incredible mentality.
Right. That simple statement just sums up the mental resolve you need to perform at that absolute elite level.
So, okay, let's pull back a bit. What does this all mean? The bigger picture for Norway, for their World Cup dreams, and maybe even for European football. This 11-1 demolition job, it wasn't just about the scoreline. It cemented Norway's position right at the top of Group I, a perfect 15 points from 5 games. That put them 6 points clear of Italy, didn't it?
Yeah.
Italy had a game in hand, sure, but still a huge cushion. Their next game, away to Israel on October 11th, 2025, that looked like a tough test. But a win there could pretty much seal qualification, couldn't it? And for a nation whose last World Cup was 1998, you mentioned that 27-year drought, think back to that famous win over Brazil.
The reigning champions, yeah.
Against this underdog Norway side, known for, well, unconventional tactics back then. This 11-1, it felt like more than just football. It felt like hope finally renewed after so long.
It absolutely felt like a massive statement, a signal of this potential new golden era for Norwegian football. And it's largely driven by what fans were calling the Haaland-Ødegaard axis. That partnership, Haaland, remember, was born after the '98 finals. He'd spoken so openly, so passionately about wanting to take Norway to a major tournament, saying things like, "This is what we've dreamed of as kids." And their combined goal tally for Norway, already way over 50 by this point, just speaks volumes about their synergy. It's a partnership that's genuinely transforming the national team. And you have to give credit to the coach, Skål Solbakken too. His pragmatic but effective style, solid defense, quick, incisive counterattacks was clearly working wonders, creating a really formidable team.
And interestingly, even for Moldova, despite just an absolutely crushing defeat like that, their journey wasn't technically over, was it? Because of their success earlier in the lowest tier of the UEFA Nations League.
That's right. They topped a group with Malta and Andorra.
So that meant they still had this potential lifeline, a back door into a playoff spot for the expanded 2026 World Cup. It's one of those slightly quirky rules, isn't it? But it does offer even the smaller nations a chance. Shows how resilience in one competition can sometimes open doors in another, really highlights the changing landscape of international football.
Yeah, it's a fascinating side note. But this whole deep dive, it really underlines how that individual brilliance, especially overcoming something as strange as Haaland's stitches, can combine perfectly with smart team strategy to create these truly legendary moments. It's a real testament to critical thinking, isn't it? Mental strength, performing under huge pressure, not just from the players on the pitch, but from the coaching staff pulling the strings behind the scenes. It just goes to show that sometimes you really do have to dare to dream big. And that collective belief, when you add generational talent like Haaland into the mix, well, it can truly light up the world stage.
Absolutely. As that stadium in Oslo echoed with joy that September evening, what we witnessed was so much more than just a football match. It was a huge statement of intent. You had the superstar transcending a weird injury. You had a national team totally focused on their mission. And you had a goal fest that, let's be honest, people will be talking about for generations.
So think about this as we wrap up. We've explored Haaland's unique blend of resilience and personality, turning that bizarre incident into fuel for an incredible performance. We've seen a nation, Norway, right on the brink of ending that long, painful 27-year World Cup wait. What does this whole story really tell us about the power of individual inspiration when it combines with that collective belief to not just win a game, but maybe even redefine a whole national sporting identity on the biggest stage?
That's a great question to leave you with. We invite you to reflect on that. Whether you're a massive football fan or not, the story of Haaland's heroics, Asgard's emergence, and Norway's huge World Cup statement, it definitely gives us all something compelling to chew on. Until next time, keep digging, keep exploring, and keep celebrating those moments where just sometimes the stars truly align.